Hey guys, welcome to day 3 of
Honoring Martyrs. Thanks for joining us for this series, and we hope that this is building your faith and encouraging you. We most certainly know that this topic is a hard one. It's not an easy one to listen to and hear about, and yet at the same time, for me, I'm not letting this drive sorrow or fear. Rather, just the opposite. This boldness is coming up in me. This awe of people who say he's worthy to live for, worthy to die for, to see the empowerment of God. I mean, yesterday's story about, what was his name, Polycarp? Just a story shakes you.
Yeah.
Just like, man. And there's so many stories just like that, and that's why we encourage you to buy that book, Fox's The Voices of the Martyrs.
Yeah, but I will say, when I was looking this up to kind of do additional research today, I found the exact story, like word for word, on their website.
VMO.org, Voice of the Martyrs.
Yeah, but it takes you to a different website. We'll link it below.
Okay.
The link was not Voice of the Martyrs, but it was Voice of the Martyrs, but that was not the website. And so, yeah, it'll give you the exact
That way you have it.
Story. So if you want to stop and just like click it and pull it up and read along with us, you can totally do that.
Yep.
We will link it in the comments.
So going into this story, it's kind of going back to that thing of whenever we talk about standing for Jesus. I mean, classically, and I just did this last month actually to a youth rally, talked about standing firm in our faith and talking about standing with our friends. And whenever we do that story, oftentimes I'll go to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Oh, yeah.
And I love their faith because it's the same faith we're going to see in a minute, but their story turns out so well. It's like when there's
no fire and they're out and
when they're thrown into the fire, Jesus shows up or an angel of the Lord shows up and is right there with them. And then they get out, they don't even smell like smoke. And you're like, yeah, that's the story. Like, that's the story we want.
Right, yeah. We all want to be rescued.
We all want to stand up there and say, man, I did the right thing, and God showed up, and everything worked out perfectly. It was a miracle. And that happens all the time. But then there's sometimes where things may go the way we all would sit back and say,
that didn't go well. But like, we're going to see from these martyrs today that their perspective was not that they were losing. Their perspective was not that God didn't show up for them.
Right.
In their perspective, they won.
Right.
You know?
So we're going to be talking about
Perpetua, Felicity, and Blandina. And they all are Christians that live, what do we decide, like 48 years after Polycarp, the last guy.
Yeah, when Polycarp was martyred, their martyrdom is going to come 48 years later.
Yeah. Still in Rome. Still at the arena.
Yeah. So these women would not have known Polycarp.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't tell us
There's
anything
no
like that. No, there's no tie-in. It's just they're in essentially the same place.
Yeah.
So you want me to start?
Yep. Let's read.
So it kind of just goes immediately into it. It throws you right in the middle of the story. So it says, Perpetua bravely held Felicity in her arms, anticipating their death together as sisters in Christ. The bull's horns had already wounded Felicity, and the crowd wanted the coup de grace. Then, abruptly and inexplicably, the bull stood still. The crowd hushed. This animal was not following the script. Now the crowd let loose with demands for blood, and gladiators rushed towards to finish the work. Felicity died quickly. When Perpetua's executioner hesitated, she herself helped guide his blade into her body. The Colosseum had never before seen such a spectacle. Perpetua came from a wealthy family. Her father was pagan, but her mother and brothers were Christians. Perpetua had a nursing baby at the time of her arrest for confessing Christ. Her father urged her to renounce her faith for his sake and for her family. Even Roman authorities urged her to offer a simple sacrifice to Roman power. She refused. She would not renounce Christ as Lord, claiming that the name that belonged to her was the name of a Christian.
Wow. I want you to think about that. I mean, these are women in the arena, and this one particularly, who's part of a noble family, is being pleaded with the people. Now, we don't want to do this to you, but you have to renounce Christ.
Yeah, her father is bringing her baby and just being like, for the sake of your child that you are nursing. Like, because back then survival was not always guaranteed. There wasn't other options if a
Right.
mom was not nursing her baby.
Right.
You know, that like he's like, the sake of your baby, like you need to do this. And so she was even actually allowed to nurse her baby within prison. And then she said, like, Perpetua has a whole journal that you can read of her writings of while she was in prison.
Mm.
And it's powerful. I read it today and was just like,
Yeah.
like, there's so many more details. So if her story interests you, like,
Go study.
go look in, just look up Perpetua.
Now, she had the easy out, and here's what I wanted to kind of lean on with that. It would have been so easy for her to say, like,
Yeah.
God
I'm
will
saving
forgive
a
me.
life.
I'm saving a life. You can justify it so easy.
Yeah.
For the sake of my father, for the sake of my family, like, wouldn't I be honoring my father if I obeyed what he
Yeah,
said
and I mean,
here?
she really goes into that in her journal of just like, she's sad for him, for his sake, for his old age. I mean, he gets beaten because of her. You know, he's going to face ridicule because of her.
Yeah.
Like,
And still a pagan.
yeah.
Still doesn't believe in her God.
But he desperately loved her.
Right.
And man, and she just talks about how he just like repeatedly came to her and tried to get her to change her mind. And, you know, that's a whole different, like when the world is like trying to get you to change your mind, that's one thing. But when it's like your own family is trying to get you to change your mind, like that takes a whole different level of strength.
And I think that's something to remember, even right now with what we've got going on. The loss of the martyr isn't just the life being lost, but it's the loved ones, the people who are close to, looked up to, who believed in them, who fathered them, who mothered them.
Yeah, whose lives are drastically different, and
Forever.
some could say worse because they're gone, because
Yeah.
of their absence. Now her father and mother and sisters have to raise her baby, and
Yeah, but even then, you could see how quickly it would be to blame God, be angry at God. Why did this
Yeah.
have to happen? Why did she have to be martyred? And I want to just encourage you to be praying for the family members of those who have been martyred, because the grief that they're going through in what is not losing their loved one still feels like they've lost. And
Right.
though they can be proud of the sacrifice, there is such a missing and a longing to be with them.
right, even when you lose your loved one under like normal circumstances,
Yeah.
you know, it's hard not to be mad at God,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And so when God is literally the reason they died,
Right.
like because they chose to lay their life down for him, like man, I can see how that would be really hard.
Yeah.
Like they've got to work through that, you know.
Yeah. And the ones who do it right, on the other side, they say it's worth it because it was
Yeah.
for the name of our Father, our
Right.
God.
Right.
And that's the thing of getting it off of us and getting it back on God.
Yeah. So it goes on to talk about Felicity. She was a slave and pregnant. Since Roman law prohibited the execution of pregnant women, sentence was delayed. Felicity gave birth in prison to a baby girl that would be adopted by Christians. When prison guards wondered how she would handle facing beasts in the arena, especially so soon after her child's birth, she responded, "Now my sufferings are only mine, but when I face the beast, there will be another who will live in me and will suffer for me, since I shall be suffering for him."
Wow.
And so in Perpetua's journal, it talks about Felicity and the fact that because she was pregnant, her sentence was going to be delayed even more. And so she was going to have to be put into the arena with common criminals
Right.
without the camaraderie of fellow Christians.
Right.
And so she was very worried about this. And so they got together and they prayed over her, and she went into labor as soon as they finished the prayer, is what Perpetua's journal says.
Wow.
So at 8 months pregnant, delivers her baby, and it's a hard time. Like she's having a hard time with it. And that's why the guards are like, well, she's having such a hard time delivering her baby. How's she going to do out in the thing?
Yeah.
Like essentially, like she's not doing well with suffering.
Right. But then at the same time, her saying that she now is going to suffer because of he who's in her, who suffers for her.
Exactly. She's like, I'm not alone in my suffering. Like,
And that was her role. I'm afraid I'll be alone in the arena. I won't have my friends. And then she comes to the realization that he who was with her
yeah.
you're never alone suffering for Christ, because
Right.
he's always there. to
And-
suffer, take on the suffering.
And in Perpetua's journal too, she talks about how they all ended up, because there were men with them too, and how they all ended up getting like the death that they wanted, or like how God was still answering their prayers through it all. And so like Perpetua got to be with, or not Perpetua, but Felicity got to be with the others instead of having to die with criminals.
Right.
And like just very, very interesting. One of the guys said he didn't want to be harmed by the animals, and he wasn't. Like the animals refused to attack him, and so they had to come out with sword
And get him.
and get him. And so it's just like thing after thing, like even so much that like he was drugged by one of the wild animals because that animal was attacking the guy who was supposed to be
Killing him.
killing him.
Wow.
Like crazy. Like
Randy's done more research on this story
I'm
than
telling
I
you,
have.
like go look up Perpetua's journal. Like it's good.
Now, I will say, once again, if you notice, whenever the animals wouldn't hurt them anymore, all of creation understands whenever God's hand is upon something. And even people, go back to those guards who are sitting there with the second guessing going, I'm not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
And then it was, who was it who did it? It was Perpetua who helped the guard.
Yeah. Who? Yeah.
guide
We're going to
his-
get there in a second.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to be quiet.
It says these two women from different classes showed fortitude, determination, and remarkably even joy at the prospects of public humiliation and suffering. Several times they refused offers of acquittal and ignored pleas to save themselves. Together they hung to heavenly hope and to each other for endurance through the ordeal. Rather than, how do you say this word? Acquiesce to Roman demands, they asked to be baptized while in prison and
Wow.
got their way. They got to be baptized in prison.
Wow.
Perpetua stated, "The dungeon is to me a palace now." Amazingly, when Perpetua was told beasts would devour her, she and her companions returned to prison in high spirits at the prospect of death for the glory of God. 3 men imprisoned with them were forced to run the gladiator gauntlet. 2 were killed by bears and 1 was beheaded. But she, in her journal, talks about dreams that she had. And so, like, her brother, like, came and pleaded with her, like, will you just ask God what's
Is
going
this
to
in a
happen?
dream or?
No, this is, like, real. Her brother came to her,
Okay.
asked her, like, will you just ask God? Like, surely he has favor on you. Just ask him what's going to happen, if you're going to make it out or not. And so she has this dream then, and it's just really cool. And essentially, like, she steps on, like, a dragon's head and ascends the ladder up into heaven and meets God. And so she knew that that meant that her end was going to come through suffering.
Yeah.
Her triumph was going to be eternal life. She knew she was going to win. And by win, go home with Jesus. You know?
I think it's the thing. Martyrdom is not
Like-
I lost or Satan won or Satan kicked me out. It is I won. Like my achievement, my victory was to be martyred.
Yeah.
And it's a reward.
Yeah, and
Martyrdom is
two-
a reward.
Different dreams throughout her course of being in prison, she was stepping on the head of the enemy.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what the Bible tells us, that we will crush Satan under our heels, that Jesus does.
Yeah.
And we will, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Is
like
that-
she knew.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, is our perspective here on this earth, and as people who are carnal nature, when we look at martyrdom, we see, I'm just going to be honest, we see loss.
Loss, right.
We see that it was wrong. We see sorrow. We see brokenness. But is it possible that this is like the very act, not just the reward on the other side of it, but is it possible that the very act itself is this beautiful victory?
Right, because what happens? It spreads the gospel farther. It goes farther. Like,
Well, think
Satan
about that.
loses even more ground
Think about
every
that-
time he tries to kill somebody,
That-
and even succeeds.
Right. Think about that warrior he's told to kill that girl. He's trying to obey his orders. He's looking at her, and she's just like, let me guide this.
Come on, yeah.
And he's just like, how do you recoup from that?
Yeah.
How do you walk away and say that that's totally normal?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to
Just the
know
boldness.
what happened to that guy. You know what I mean?
So it says, as for Perpetua, she was the picture of poise in the center of chaos and blood. Like they wanted them to dress up like priestess and like go out, and she refused.
Yeah.
And she was like, we came here free and we're going to be free. And like she was so sure and confident that they allowed her to not go out like that.
Right.
When the bull tossed her but did not hurt her, Perpetua's hair came undone. She asked to be allowed to put her hair up because undone hair was a sign of mourning. But this was a day for triumph and joy. So she said, I won't go out looking like a mourner.
Right. Wow.
Belinda, or Balandina, a slave girl, was the last to die. She was hanged from a post and exposed to wild animals, but they would not attack. She was repeatedly tortured and eventually trapped in a net, trampled by a bull. All of the martyrs' bodies were left unburied and guarded by soldiers. Such courage made a mark on the Romans. These 3 women and Christians had stood together and died together. Several spectators converted to Christianity as a result, including the governor of Rome. Yeah, even like one of the things said that for Blandina, even like her accusers, her spectators had to admit that they'd never seen a woman suffer that much or that long before. Like, just refused to die.
And
Like,
never would recant.
No.
Never
like,
would stop.
I mean, things just kept happening, and she was like, okay, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Just the empowerment of God and His Holy Spirit to allow people to go through such brutality.
Yeah.
And never leave, never run away from that fact that Jesus is Lord.
Yeah.
And man, I remember growing up in youth group and all that stuff. Youth group, kids, as a kid, whatever, listening to the story of the martyrs and asking myself that question, like, could I hold it together?
Right.
Could I endure the torture?
Right. And I think the thing is, when we were kids, it was always like, if someone threatens to shoot you, and it's like, well, that was going to be such a fast way to die.
Or cut your head off. I mean, that was
right.
We went through that phase too.
But like these people were like tortured.
Yeah. Like trampled on by bulls.
Yeah, it was horrific, like over and over and over again.
Yeah. And so I looking at all that, I'm going, this is, for me, seeing this, it's the empowerment of God saying, yeah, you're going to be a spectacle. They're going to look at you. But when they do, they're going to see me.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where the governor of Rome is sitting there going, oh my goodness. To see their faith, to see that they would not back down, to see that they were willing to die. And I'm sure they had people who they tortured in there all the time. I'm sure they had tons, they did, had tons of times where they just butchered people up. But to see these women stand firm whenever they were given such an easy out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the power of God.
Yeah.
That's all it can be.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing with Perpetua. Like, they kind of even tried to make it easier for her instead of saying, like, you must renounce it. Like, just go and offer to one of the other gods. Just make an offering.
Yeah.
Just do anything. You don't even have to say anything. Just go and give them something.
Yeah.
And we'll be okay with it.
Yeah.
She's like, no.
Just give us the appearance of being
Yeah.
polytheistic.
Yeah.
Just give us the
We
appearance.
don't care if you mean it. Like, just go do it.
But not even the appearance. And so I would encourage you. You may believe that the persecuting moments in your life where the world's saying to bow down to this theology, this idea, this God, this image, whatever it is, and you may sit there and say, man, I'm believing for a Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego experience. But let me remind you their hearts. They said, our God, O King, can save us. But even if he doesn't, we will not bow. These women did not bow. They didn't fall. They didn't say, they didn't make up excuses. They simply said, I know what's right, and what's right is to declare Jesus Christ as Lord.
Yeah.
And so
they didn't lose.
They didn't lose. They didn't lose. They won. I mean, think about that. When we get to heaven, we're going to see these 3 women esteemed, lifted up as wonderful martyrs who faithfully gave it all.
Yeah.
And this is, like I said, only 48 years since Polycarp has given his life. And here again, the Roman world is shook.
Yeah, they're still doing this. 48 years later, still persecuting Christians and killing them. And in those 48 years, you would think that Christianity would slow down. Like, oh, I don't want to get thrown in there. I know the consequence of doing this. And it's like, still we see so many people giving their lives
Right.
to Jesus in a bold way that says, I'm not going to say he's not real.
Right. Man, I hope that builds your faith today. I hope no matter what you're standing against or what's coming, who's giving you a question, I hope that you continue to stand firm and say, I know my Jesus, and I won't talk down about him. I won't act like he's not in the room. I won't act like he's not in authority. Everything I say, everything I do, I want him to be the Lord and the King of all of it.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you so much for joining us today for just the chance to honor martyrs.
Yeah.
And we honor these three women who stood up and just proved what it was like
Yeah.
to give it all and be empowered by God to do
Yeah.
so.
And boldness.
So see us tomorrow
Yeah.
as we do our next video.
Yeah, day 4.
Looking forward to that. We're going to move up to the timeline quite a bit to, I think somebody in the...
I don't know, I haven't studied it yet.
I haven't looked at it either. You'll see tomorrow, and so we look forward to talking to you then about it. If you ever need anything, comment.
Oh, we're going like super,
Yeah, we're going to Bonhoeffer, so we're going to
Okay.
jump quite a bit.
get into the 1900s.
Yeah.
All right.
So with that, we'll see you tomorrow. If you need something, like I said, message us. We'd love to pray for you, encourage you. You keep flourishing in life and keep declaring the name of Jesus. Don't back down. He's worth living for. He's worth dying for. See you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.